council meeting. I'll call the meeting to order at 7:01 p.m. I think we'll move right into our public hearing for
Through your worship, adoption of meeting agenda, please.
Sorry, I have it mixed up here. All right, can I have someone adopt the agenda, please? Do you have any additions? All right, Councillor Forrest, all in favor? Carried. All right, I'll have someone make a motion to recess to our public hearing. Deputy Mayor, all in favor? Carried. All right, I'll call the public hearing to order at 7:02 p.m. I know this is for bylaw number 1067-26 and amending bylaw of land use bylaw number 1051-25 for the purpose of redistricting Lot 4, Block 1, Plan 0826934 from industrial to highway commercial. And I, Josh Lambert, the Mayor of Town of High Level, will be the chair of the public hearing. On behalf of council, I'd like to welcome you all here today. And all of council is present for the public hearing. I'd like to take a moment to introduce the other councillors in attendance today. We have Councillor Langford, Councillor Mercady, Councillor Forrest, Councillor Scott, Deputy Mayor Liberon, and Councillor Zacco. Public hearing secretary shall be Viv Thoss from the Town of High Level, and planning advice will be provided by Jane Daphne of Municipal Planning Services, the Acting Director of Planning and Development, who has been assisting the town with this bylaw amendment. All people wishing to be heard at the public hearing will have the opportunity to do so. All persons shall be provided the opportunity to be heard in the order that their request to administration was received. The public hearing for proposed bylaw 1067-26, being the bylaw to amend the existing Town of High Level land use bylaw, is now open at 7:03 p.m. The purpose of this public hearing is to hear testimony relating to bylaw 1067-26. Again, everyone present will be given an opportunity to be heard. Only one person may speak at a time. This is the time for presentation of testimony to council, not debate. Please speak clearly and start by stating your name for the record. Comments must be specifically related to the matter being considered. All right, the secretary will now introduce the bylaw.
Through your worship, I will turn this over to the Acting Director of Planning and Development.
Good evening, Jane.
Good evening. Thank you, Council. I'm just going to go through a really brief report that provides a bit of background information about the bylaw. So the amendments being proposed in order to facilitate the development of a truck stop, gas station, convenience store, and motel. These uses are defined specifically in the C3 Highway Commercial District as fuel station and retail convenience. So that's how they would be classified within your land use bylaw. The application was received in the fall of 2024, and then upon preliminary review was determined that it was incomplete and some additional supporting information was required. That supporting information was received in November. The application was then deemed complete, and the proposed amendment was circulated to adjacent landowners for comment in December of 2025. We did a site analysis of the proposal just to ensure that the use that's being proposed in this location and the amendment that's being proposed were appropriate. The site is adjacent to a reclaimed landfill and within the normal 300-meter setback distance of a second reclaimed landfill. However, the town has received approval to vary the required setback distance from both landfills. That approval was received in 2011. The reclaimed landfill within Lot 3, Block 3, Plan 0626954 now has a required setback of 30 meters, and the other landfill has a setback of 100 meters. The landowner is aware of the required setbacks, and no development of any of the uses that are restricted by the province within those setback areas as being proposed within the existing setbacks as they would affect the subject lot. On the adjacent properties, there's a bulk water refill station, a cell phone store, and a construction contractor and a fuel supplier. The adjacent lots are within the industrial district and the highway commercial district. So on the other sides of this lot, the existing uses are, there would be no conflict with what's being proposed. They're compatible with what's being proposed. The applicant also provided a geotechnical investigation, which was completed in 2025. The report did not identify any geotechnical constraints that would prevent the types of development that are being proposed on the site from proceeding. The report indicates that the site is geotechnically suitable for the proposed commercial uses. On August 7th, we did some consulting with Alberta Transportation and Economic Corridors, and they did indicate that a traffic impact assessment would be required for this property prior to development on the lot. We had conversations with the proponent about this, and the applicant is aware that this will have to be completed prior to submission of a development permit application on the site if the proposed rezoning is approved by council. The application and bylaw were circulated as is required in accordance with the requirements in the Act. Notice that the public hearing was posted on the town's website and within the local paper. The public notification process that was undertaken is consistent with the town's public notification bylaw. Additionally, agencies were notified just to ensure that there wasn't something that would create a conflict or a concern. We notified the Alberta Energy Regulator, Alberta Transportation and Economic Corridors, Canada Post, TELUS, ATCO Electric, ATCO Gas and Pipelines, Alberta Health Services, Mackenzie County, Port Vermilion School Division, the High Level Christian Academy, and Northern Lights Gas Co-op, and no objections or recommendations that would result in a change to what's being proposed were received. So we'd also reviewed the proposal in relation to any applicable statutory plans and the provisions within the town's land use bylaw. And the proposal is consistent with the applicable statutory plans, which in this case are your municipal development plan. It's outside of an area, like there isn't applicable IDP policies other than a referral policy that would apply. And then what's being proposed and what has been included in terms of information about what the end uses are consistent with, if the bylaw is approved, what the underlying uses that are allowed in the district will be. So there was no conflict identified in relation to the statutory plan or the land use bylaws. We also looked at the proposal in relation to council strategic priorities, and we believe that this aligns with Goal 1, Vibrant Economy, in your 2022 to 2026 strategic plan. In terms of financial impacts, if the site is developed, then there's a potential for a positive financial impact for the town resulting from an increased assessment value of the site. Currently, the lot is vacant and doesn't contain any notable improvements. Additionally, should on or offsite improvements to municipal infrastructure be required in order to facilitate development on the site, those improvements would be borne, or by the responsibility for carrying them out would be by the developer. It'll be at their cost. So that would be some added value for the larger community as well. So our recommendation, I guess, is kind of dependent on what happens with the public hearing. If there's no testimony at the public hearing which would suggest objections or concerns with the proposed bylaw, our recommendation would be that following the closure of the public hearing, council proceed to give consideration to second and third readings of the bylaw. That concludes my report for the public hearing. Thank you, council.
Thank you, Jane. Does council have any questions? No? All right. I will now call upon people sign up to speak in regards to the bylaw amendment. Yes. All right. Yeah, please state your name and just press the button on the mic there.
My name is Perry Felsinger, and I represent the hotels in high level, or 5 of them, plus the land that is closer to the Canadian Tire and also behind Tim Hortons and other areas as well. I want to brought up a concern because one of the things that was not addressed is high level is, and we all know, is considered a high-risk designated fire zone. And high level is part of the Alberta Forest Protection Area. And we all have gone through this. And the town also has been evacuated at one point. And it is generally not advisable to have a fuel truck stop closer to an electrical grid, which has been proposed. Doing so introduces significant combined risk, not one risk, but combined risk of explosion and catastrophic failure of critical infrastructure. So if we have to build anything closer to that area, etc. It is well documented that it is not advisable to have a fuel truck stop close to an electrical grid within a high-risk wildfire zone area. This scenario creates a significant safety hazard due to the combination of high-intensity heat, potential for download power lines, and high flammability of fuel cargo. And this fuel cargo is huge. Each truck needs around 600 liters of diesel. So these massive tanks are going to be installed for that purpose. Now, fuel trucks represent significant ignition hazard, which can create a high-risk scenario for catastrophic in an already volatile, fire-prone environment. We are in a fire-prone environment. Now, Forest and Prairie Protection Act, which is the FPPA, under the Government Organization Act within the province of Alberta, exempt land within the boundaries of urban municipalities and land owned by Government of Canada. So the prevention, detection, suppression of wildfire outside FPA are the responsibility of us, the local community. So this becomes a big concern for us as business owners, where we invest so much of money, or will be investing so much of money to the town. Now, operating a fuel truck near electrical grid is my concern. And in a fire-prone zone requires a combination of electrical safety, fire engineering, and environmental impact assessment to mitigate high consequences risk. I would like to object of this project going ahead as it is. But if we are proceeding with this project, I would like to see the following takes place. Find a location not closer to the electrical grid. That's number one. Number two is conduct the following necessary impact studies and assessment by an independent body. That means, number one, to have a fire and explosion risk assessment. Second, and that could be, static electricity analysis and hazard zone mapping, etc. And the second is electrical grid infrastructure safety study. The third, a wildlife risk assessment. And fourth, an environment and operational impact study. So I believe if we get all these 4 studies done, I think we are comfortable saying, yeah, it's good to zone it accordingly. Or find another location within the area, not closer to the grid. Because if that goes down, the entire town goes down. So I want to share that message to you, and I'm opposing for this project or the zoning to go ahead as it is without these amendments. First, find a different location. It's all good. Development is good, great, thumbs up, but not close to an electrical grid. And commercial zoning, you say the 30 meter, which is 100, feet away, those are all good. But when it comes to these fuel trucks, whereas ignition, when you do these impact studies, it's going to affect us. And it's one spark that has to happen for everything to shut off. and especially with wildlife here. And we are in that area. Already we are paying, as a business owners, we are paying high-risk insurance for our businesses. So I want to share that information with you, and I hope that council will look at it in a more objective fashion. I'm all out for a business for that to come in, but we have to be also mindful of the risk factor that it will bring. And then it'll be too late to say we should have done it at that time. Thank you.
Thank you. Does council have any questions? All right, thank you for your testimony. I will now call upon anyone else that wishes to speak. Seeing none. I will call for a second time if anyone would like to speak for or against the bylaw amendment. Seeing none, I will call a third and final time. Seeing none. All right, since there is no further testimonies, I will close the public hearing. It is now in order for council to discuss matters and for council member to make a motion to either take action to the matter, schedule the matter for later deliberation, or postpone the matter for additional staff work or other reason. Does anyone like to make a motion? Okay, all in favor? Carried. All right, can I have someone, do we need to move back into the regular scheduled meeting? A motion to move back into the regular meeting? Councilor Mercredi, all in favor? Carried. All right, seeing no delegations, we'll move into 7.1, minutes of the January 26, 2026 meeting minutes. Any errors, council? No? All right, can I have someone move the minutes, please? Councillor Scott, all in favor? Carried. All right, moving on, no delegation business, council committee reports. Start with mine. On February 3rd, I had my weekly meeting with the CAO, and then following that evening, I had the Chamber of Commerce monthly meeting. We continued the planning for the 2026 trade show. Work is underway to finalize the layout, with consideration being given to changing the floor plan this year to improve some of the traffic flow for vendors and attendees. The trade show dates are confirmed for May 1st and 2nd of this year. The Chamber also confirmed that Business After 5 will now be held on a bi-monthly basis. The next event is scheduled for this Wednesday, February 11th at the Best Western Mirage at 5:30 p.m. And to start the year, the Chamber has seen a strong and encouraging uptake in memberships, which is a very positive indicator of continuing engagement and support from the local business community. And one of the bigger topics that actually came up within the Chamber of Commerce meeting was business members raising concerns regarding sponsorship recognition for town-led events and initiatives. Several businesses noted that despite providing financial or in-kind support of events such as Frostival, Free Skates, and other community initiatives, recognition has not been consistent or aligned with typical sponsorship expectations. This concern has been raised previously and remains unresolved. Businesses express that clear and consistent sponsorship recognition is important to maintain positive relationships and continued support for these events. This may be an area where our existing policy or practices could be reviewed. Any questions? All right, seeing none. I have someone accept my report, please. Councillor Zacco, all in favor? Carried. All right, Deputy Mayor.
Okay, on January 28th, I attended the Community Education Committee, where we set forth the dollars for celebrating the students passing their courses, as well as put the dollars forward for a couple of community learning initiatives, one of which was a bear aware training course, and then chainsaw safety. So no dates or anything have been set for those as of yet, but if businesses are interested in having to be able to run some of their employees through it, there are going to be some seats available. So just keep that in mind and watch for those dates to be released. On January 29th, I attended the high-level library board. Just basic policy discussions and a few other things, nothing too major. And then I just had some more information to share. Last time we were in council, I had shared with everyone that I was asked to sit on the FRIA committee to represent Alberta municipalities. So I've since been sworn in. I've yet to get any information. I have my first meeting, orientation meeting on the 19th, so I'll bring more back then. And then on top of that, I was put forward for the Alberta Municipalities Advocacy Committee for Policing, Justice, and Emergency Management. So that one starts on March 5th. That's all I have to report.
Congratulations. Thank you. Any questions for the Deputy Mayor? All right, thank you. Councillor Forrest?
My committees, it's been quiet. I only attended the January 29th library board meeting with Deputy Mayor Lebron, and that's all I have. There hasn't been any board meetings of any kind. It's been quiet.
Any questions? All right, Councillor Langford.
Attended the special council meeting earlier this evening for the audit finding report. And that's it.
Thank you. Any questions? Councillor Mercredi.
January 27th, I attended the MFTA AGM, and we got 2 new members at large, so that was awesome. January 30th, I attended the Boreal Housing. February 4th, I attended Golden Range Society. Their AGM is this month on the 27th as well, 25th. And Boreal Housing again on February 9th.
Any questions? All right, Councillor Scott.
I have had no meetings this month.
All right, Councillor Zacco.
I have not had meetings. They are coming up here shortly in the next week. But just for some information, last council meeting you asked for a quick update on the Bison Child and Youth Advocacy Center. So I just have a quick little information for everybody and for the public that I'd like to share.
Sorry, just for clarification, that's with the Community and Policing Society?
Correct, yes. So the Bison Child and Youth Advocacy Center is currently the only program operating under the High-Level Community Policing Society. The Bison Center serves children and youth affected by abuse, neglect, exploitation, or who have witnessed domestic or community violence and their non-offending caregivers. The center offers a safe, child-friendly space for RCMP to conduct child forensic interviews, and Bison Center staff are available to support throughout the investigative process. Staff are also provided community referrals and support clients to navigate the court system, providing updates, court preparation, and accompaniment, and the use of the remote testimony space at the center. Services are provided by referral only. Clients are referred to the Bison Center through RCMP, Children's Services, or Victim Services. Self-referrals are accepted from caregivers if the child is actively in the court system as a victim or witness. The High Level and Area RCMP are a dedicated and collaborative partner to the Bison Center. There are currently a few trained child forensic interviewers in the area who work around their regular shifts to support interviewers done at the center. It is the hope of the Bison Center to have a dedicated RCMP member on site in the future. This will allow for future reach in services for children and youth in High Level and surrounding areas, and ensures less barriers for receiving the necessary support that is very well needed in our community. So, yeah.
Fantastic, thank you. Any questions, Council? All right, seeing none, can I have someone accept Council Committee reports? Councillor Forrest, all in favor? Carried. All right, moving on to 10.1, 2024 audited financial statements.
Through your worship, I will turn this over to your independent auditor.
Is he online?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to. Edward, are you there?
I
I'll tur-
don't see him in the
Okay.
on the screen.
Okay. I'll turn it over to the acting director of finance to do the intro, and then I will message Edward.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Mayor and Council. Just going through the request for decision attached to the financial statements. Sorry, I just muted myself. In front of you are the 2024 audited financial statements. The recommendation is that council receives the presentation relative to the audit results will be given by the independent auditor, and approve the Town of High Level 2024 audited financial statements as presented. The December 31st, 2024 financial statements of the Town of High Level have been audited by Doyle and Company, Chartered Professional Accountants. They are independent auditors that were appointed by the township. And we will wait for Edward to walk through those statements.
Thank you. Oh, yeah, is he in the other meeting still? Did we want to move on and then come back to this once he reconnects, or? Okay. Oh, we're calling him. In the meantime, should we move on to 10.2 and have Myron present? Okay. Do we need to make a motion to move over? No? Just continue the order of business? Okay. All right, 10.2, Trails and Active Transportation Plan.
I will turn this over to the interim deputy CAO.
Good evening, Myron. Oh, there he is. There's Edward.
Thank you.
Oh, awesome. I was like, oh, I didn't think I was getting invited. I was just sitting there waiting.
Sorry, Edward, just
hi,
one
everyone.
second, please. Myron, we'll take a pause there and we'll go back to 10.1 if that's all right with you. Sorry to jump the gun a little there.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
All right, so going back to 10.1. Welcome back, Edward.
Thank you for having me. I was watching a little bit and was waiting for the link. Hi, everyone. I'm just going to get right into it because I know I put you guys a little bit behind. My name is Edward. I'm a partner at Doyle & Company. We're the auditors for the town of High Level. Here to just discuss the 2024 financial statements, draft financial statements that hopefully will get approved today. And then we can get forward and start 2025s. So for 2024, we're issuing a clean unqualified audit opinion. What that means is that through our audit work, through testing, and through our review of the balance sheet and income statement, we didn't find anything in material errors, no instance of fraud that we could identify. And, we're comfortable with providing a clean unqualified audit opinion. Generally, what you look for in an internal auditor our external auditor is independence. One of the biggest things that we do here is we assess independence at 3 levels. Once at the beginning of the financial statements. So before we even engaged, we got to look at our staff, myself included with the administration team, council, and the town of High Level, just to see if there's any sort of hindrance there. When there's none, we move forward to the middle. I like to call it kind of like the meat and the patty. We like to go through a lot of the stuff we find, and then we assess it at the middle again. And then at the very end, before we issue the audit report, we look at that again to give our opinion. Okay, so internal controls remain strong. There's good segregation of duties, good controls, dual signatures on checks. Financial statements are prepared well. Hats off to administration and finance and council as well. Yeah, so that's pretty much the audit report. The financial statements are prepared by the town's staff, and we're responsible for auditing it. Okay. And then, so just to touch on a couple of key pieces, I know Dave is around here as well, so he can kind of go through some of the items on the financial statements in more detail than me, but I'm just going to go through and hit some highlight points. Cash at the end of December 31st, 2024, $6,613,329. Accounts receivable is broken up between taxes and grants and places of taxes, $354,000. Trade and other receivables at $7.6 million. Small inventory held for resale, $32,000. Investments is $6,625,442. So these are financial assets at about $21 million, $229,655. Accounts payable is $1.1 million. Deferred revenue, $6.9 million. Asset retirement obligation, $6.5 million. Long-term debt is $1.6 million. The total debt limit unused is $26.8 million, and the debt service limit is just shy of $4.5 million. That leaves the total net financial asset for the town of High Level at the end of December 31st, 2024 at $4,914,608. Tangible capital assets is $106 million. Big additions this year: a fire truck, a couple of residential housings, a water truck, a snow haul truck, a brush truck, and a squad vehicle. Inventory for consumption, $260,000. Prepaid expenditures at $282,000. Total accumulated surplus for the year, $111,820,411. Total revenue at the statement of operations, $18.9 million. Total expenditures is $20.5 million. A shortfall of revenue over expenditures of $1.5 million. Government transfers for capital, $732,000, and then a small gain on the sale of investments of $40,000. A big highlight that I want to talk about is on Schedule 1 for anybody who's reviewing the financial statements. Total unrestricted surplus opened the year at $1.4 million in a deficit, ended the year with the change in accumulated surplus of $2.9 million. In a positive position of 1.425 million. Internally restricted, there was some restricted funds used for capital asset purchases that started the year at 6.1 million, ended the year at 5.6 million. Total capital asset additions were just over $2.3 million. Total equity and tangible capital asset ends the year at $104 million. Big important thing to look at in that schedule is that the change in accumulated surplus takes into account all your amortization, your long-term debt repaid, your excess of revenue over expenditures, the amounts designated to internally restricted funds sees a positive $2.9 million swing, which ends off a surplus at 1.4 million. So that's a really, really good year. So that's something that, we got to give hats off to council and administration and finance for. And then we have a Schedule 2, which is the schedule of tangible capital assets. The net book value of all the assets of the town is $106 million, as I touched upon. One of the more important points that I wanted to bring out just to the public is that we've sent the draft statements to municipal affairs. We have had the conversations there. Then they've reviewed the numbers. We are bang on to their numbers, which is a very big beat given where the financial statements were prior. So again, just a pat on the back to everybody in the room. So, we've really carried forward. I think we have a good solid foundation to go forward. And the next goal is to get these financial statements for 2025 wrapped up before May 1st. So that's a goal. And hopefully when we reach that goal, we'll bring you guys back up to speed and you'll be caught up.
Fantastic. Thank you.
No, thank you.
And
sorry to keep you waiting.
No worries. Thank you. And a huge thank you to administration, everyone that was involved. Obviously there's a lot of work to do here. Still some more work to be done. So again, thank you and good luck for the rest of it. Council, do you have any questions? No? All right. Can I have make a motion, please? Deputy Mayor? All in favor? Carried. Thanks, Edward.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
Have a good night.
You too.
All right, moving on to 10.2, or back to 10.2. Sorry, Myron.
No problem. Thank you, Mayor and Council. The item before Council tonight is Trails and Active Transportation Master Plan. I'd like to introduce Connor O'Loughlin. Connor's with McElhaney Engineering in their Community Services Division. And he's been with McElhaney since 2011 and has moved through a number of disciplines and is currently in the whole landscape community services field and has managed and delivered numerous projects similar to the one that the town of High Level will hear about tonight, and has carried out a lot of these initiatives, projects throughout Alberta and beyond. So I'd like to call upon him to provide council a brief presentation on this plan. So thank you, Connor.
Thanks, Myron. Good evening, Connor.
Good evening, Mayor Lambert and members of council. Thanks for the introduction, Myron. My one quick question is, if I share my screen, will that be easily viewable for the members of the council?
It should be.
Yes.
Okay. Great. So I will jump into things here. Thank you for having me. Yeah, so as Myron said, my name's Connor O'Loughlin. with McElhaney Limited, we are called. So we do engineering, landscape architecture, all sorts of community services. I'll kind of jump into things here. So yeah, I'm with our landscape architecture group. We've recently reorganized, and now we are community infrastructure. So within my division, we have engineers and landscape architects now. My background is I actually started with surveying back in the day, and then transitioned, went back to school for landscape architecture through NAIT in Edmonton, and then University of Guelph in Southern Ontario there. And then McElhaney. Who's McElhaney? We are the oldest employee-owned consulting firm in Canada, which we are quite proud of. We were founded in 1910, and we primarily focus on Western Canada. So for those of you that don't know McElhaney, that's a bit of a background on us. Like I mentioned, we do survey geomatics, bridges, engineering, landscape architecture, materials testing, environmental services, among others. So the project tonight, looks like my camera just kicked out, but I don't think that matters. What we're presenting tonight was actually, its inception was back in 2021. You know, this project was initially started by a colleague of mine who is no longer with us, so it was kind of handed over to me, and I understand that there's a bit of handover in the town as well. So I'm just here really trying to bring forward what was asked of us, what we looked into, and what we did to create this plan. So essentially what was asked of us was to assess the current community connectivity and infrastructure, and then identify opportunities to improve the town's network of sidewalks and trails. So what that entailed was first looking at what existing resource documents were out there. So I've listed the ones that we referenced in our report, and in that report it goes into a little more thorough intel about what we dug into. But yeah, we reviewed the 2012 pedestrian plan, the Bush Walking Trail overall plan, the 2011 downtown revitalization strategy, the 2015 municipal engineering and construction standards, and then looked at various trails and trail mapping and whatnot. So the first phase of our work was to really analyze and assess the current infrastructure in town. So we took a thorough look at all the streets and all the sidewalks and what was there. And we use that to identify sort of network gaps and amenity gaps, and then look at where safe journey routes can be implemented to increase public safety, and where regional connectivity opportunities might lie. So through this, we developed a pathway classification system that ideally gets adopted and implemented by the town, that kind of identifies each of your streets in town with a certain classification on how it should look in the future. So I'll move forward. So the first sort of figure of our report is really the existing mapping. So we tried to make this as clear as possible. The red lines in there being existing monolithic sidewalks, the blue being existing boulevard walks, and green being trails. We put a little less emphasis on roads because that's not exactly active transportation. I will actually jump back and note this tab up on the top. So just the definition of active transportation is the transport of people or goods through non-motorized means based around human physical activity. So with that, we've kind of identified all the places that a pedestrian can walk in town and analyze them. Within that same figure, we included a chart. So this goes in depth into each of the streets and roads in town and kind of explains what's going on each of them. So for example, I've kind of expanded on 100th Ave between Highway 58 and Borealis Road. So there's both boulevard and monolithic walks in that stretch. And we just note that, we have 1.5 meters of monolithic between 58 and 106 streets. And then, boulevard and those other sections. So essentially, like, everything in town has been inventorized, which is just good to know what you have, really. So as we move forward, this is the main plan. This is our sort of proposed master plan for what ideally the town should work towards. By no means does this map identify any existing conditions. It's really a blueprint for what the town should develop into in the future. So we kind of identify some key things here. The one thing I would really like to highlight is the sort of teal lines. the safe journey routes. So safe journey routes, within the report, it goes into quite some detail about what that means. But essentially, it's just providing safe conditions for, younger pedestrians and all community users to navigate the town and get through the town and go from main node to main node. So one of the main nodes in the central part of the town is the school there. And we just want to emphasize that safe journey routes should be implemented to channel children from the greater community along safe roads to school. So this is, like I mentioned, the overall master plan. And in that same figure, we do a breakdown on what each of these line types should mean in the future. So for those, okay, so I didn't blow up the safe journey routes. It would have been nice to tie that together, but what I did blow up is the primary roads. So that's sort of your complete Main Street development. And so what we've done is we've gone through, we've kind of described what that means. We've put the minimum and preferred conditions as well as recommended amenities along those routes. So I've just kind of blown up the minimum and preferred conditions there. So, as development occurs, and one thing we really, really like to push is an integrated infrastructure approach. So if the town is undertaking an asphalt program where some roads are being sort of rejuvenated or rehabbed, those moments are great opportunities to not just do the asphalt from curb to curb, but to expand and provide great safe walking conditions. So this plan essentially would be able to tell you, okay, we're working on this street. This is what our minimum and what our preferred conditions should be as we do work in there. So moving on, what we did is we broke up the master plan into sort of 3 different figures that list priority. So we've set up this high priority upgrades to really include those safe journey routes. I think that's the most important thing for a community is public safety, and especially the safety of the children. So we wanted to emphasize that. We have also included a little strip up on 100th Ave there, where there's essentially no infrastructure in place, or at least lacking infrastructure. And then lastly, we've included the Main Street development because that's a great way to get rolling on downtown enhancements, is kind of creating an identity for Main Street. So those were our first high priority items. And then we move into medium priority, which is kind of our main drags, our main complete Main Street development routes. So that's 100th Ave that goes, through essentially the ring road of the town into the downtown Main Street area, and then all that downtown commercial street development areas. We additionally included a route so that people can walk from that main part of town over to the college. So we just sort of have that route highlighted through the industrial area as a priority as well. And then lastly, the tertiary low priority item would be the streets that have houses on them. And as there's a lot to be included there and a lot to be upgraded, but really it's those main networks that do carry more vehicles that should be the priority. And then as well, implementing some safe walking streets through the industrial area. So I will again just really like to emphasize that this note on the top left of the screen here, priority markups highlight community need, but an integrated infrastructure approach should be utilized whenever possible. So meaning if there's a road on this medium priority upgrade sheet that is set to be upgraded soon anyways, it should take precedent over some of the high priority items, because the town really should take advantage of that integrated infrastructure approach. So and then lastly, we just kind of noted some regional connectivity trails. There is an existing trail heading east from town, which is a great trail. And then just kind of within the report, we kind of talk about how you engage those other partnerships and other stakeholders to increase that regional connectivity. So this is really my last slide. It's just kind of showing that blow up of the complete figure that we've included in that report. I encourage everyone to take a dig through that report when they get the chance, because there's a lot of good material in there. And now I will open the floor for any questions that council may have.
Thanks for the presentation, Connor. Any questions, council? No, seeing none. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Connor. Your worship, Mayor and Council, it is mentioned in 2020, the town high level determined that an updated trails plan was needed, and that's where the work kind of began in updating previous planning documents. A review of the previous council meeting minutes and agendas did not result in locating specific information relating to this project, including a resolution to undertake the plan. However, it was a signed contract document dated December 2nd, 2021 for the updated plan titled the Trails and Active Transportation Plan was located. The work under this contract was to update previous plans, as mentioned. Areas of concern that initiated the development of this new plan included lack of connectivity with existing trails and sidewalks, inconsistency in design and construction, safety concern in some areas, especially in areas where there was crossing of drainage ditches, and issues relating to trail alignment adjacent to existing residential properties. As Connor mentioned, McElhaney Engineering was retained in 2021, and there was delays, as he also mentioned, with staffing. And I know there was also delays in providing information to them so they could proceed with the work. All those have been overcome, and the project was completed in mid-2025. The project cost was initially $20,500 and was increased by $9,900 a number of years ago through a change order 1, actually February 15th, 2024, bringing the total fee up to $30,400. Within the fee structure, McElhaney had identified two separate presentations at a cost of $1,300 each. However, until tonight, those presentations were not established or done. It's important to have this presentation so new council and those on administration that haven't had anything to do with this project to date are more knowledgeable about the project, and because, as I mentioned, it is very, very important to close off this project. Change order number 2 is attached for council's reference, and again, this was a change order just received from McElhaney for them to prepare the presentation materials and provide the presentation tonight. We could not find any information that indicated that the project was funded through Municipal Sustainability Initiative grant program. So it doesn't appear that a grant was applied for this project, which is unfortunate. McElhaney has provided a good overview of what was contained in the plan, and I would implore council to review the information that's provided. This information is important because it'll assign operational capital funding on an ongoing basis to ensure that we can bring this information to council, and the monies can be assigned to this important part of the community's infrastructure. In addition, administration will ensure that the town's engineering design guidelines and specifications, which are in need of updating, will reflect the specifications contained within the Trails and Active Transportation Plan. And also importantly, I've had discussions with Tetra Tech Engineering, who are the consultants working on the 100th Avenue Road rehabilitation, to ensure that the design components are included in their design as well, so that that there's no missteps in ensuring that the surface works that are attainable. Administration has identified that this project meets council strategic priorities, including Goal 2, infrastructure growth and reliability, as well as Goal 3 being a resilient community. This project will achieve these goals by expanding and promoting recreation and tourism opportunities. So a quick summation under financial is the engineering services for this project was $30,400, which did not include the presentation fee component, of which one was done tonight. And so we're looking for council approval for that change order number 2 in the amount of $1,300 to McElhaney. And as well, administration's asking that council formally adopt the Trails and Active Transportation Plan as presented. And that's my report, Your Worship.
Thanks, Myron. Before we make a motion, I just wanted to clarify. So since this was done in 2021, I'm not sure how much this would affect the past projects we've done from 23, 24. For 97th, or not 97th Street, 92nd Street. There's no sidewalks there, but on Rainbow Boulevard, the sidewalk was replaced there, and then on 103rd Street was replaced, and also an addition to the adjacent side. So just wondering if does that affect this report at all, that those have been updated, or no? Okay.
Your Worship, we'll have to look at those specific projects that have been done over this period of time to see if they align with the recommendations that are provided in this report, and we will follow up with council on that.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, council? All right, council, make a motion, please.
I'll move option 1.
All right, Councillor Langford, all in favor? Carried. All right, thanks, Connor, and thanks, Myron.
You're welcome.
All right, moving on to 10.3, roadway data collection and pavement management plan.
Through your worship, I will turn this over to the interim deputy CAO.
Okay, thank you. Welcome back, Myron.
Thank you. Thank you. The roadway data collection and pavement management plan project was also initiated a few years ago in 2023, and through the services of Tetra Tech Engineering. This project was also introduced due to the increasing concern for deteriorating conditions of roadways, as well as that of curb and gutter sidewalks within the community. It was determined that collecting the roadway data and undertaking an assessment and developing an annual rehabilitation upgrade program would provide strategic direction to prioritize the roadworks and to best utilize capital funding to undertake those works. The project was included along with the 100th Avenue Road Rehabilitation Project, which were all included in a master services agreement with Tetra Tech Engineering and signed by former CAO Clark McCaskill. In May of 2025, administration had requested that Tetra Tech Engineering identify the roadway data collection and pavement management plan as a standalone project and not embedded in the 100th Avenue Road Rehabilitation Project. And that would make ease in transparency and ease of tracking of the projects, both projects actually, as well as viability from a financial standpoint. So that change has taken place, and we have this as a separate project. The roadway data collection and pavement management project has expanded since the initial scope to include sidewalk, curb and gutter data collection and assessment, as well as a detailed assessment of localized roadway settlement areas existing within the areas of arterial and residential roadways. I'm quite certain that council is well aware of many of these settlements. I think there's something like 60 of them. And most of those are caused when there's insufficient compaction with service installation tie-ins to the water and sewer mains. Additional work was also undertaken by Tetra Tech to expand the budget scenario outcomes. These additional functions were approved by the former Director of Operations and in the most part completed to date. The attached change order that's with this request for decision outlines the increase in fees above the approved project of $57,950. Due to the fact that project budget approved by council is exceeded, administration is seeking council's approval of change order number 1 in the amount of $9,900. The plan has been provided to administration and is scheduled to be brought forward to council at a presentation similar to the one tonight on the Trails and Active Transportation Plan at the February 23rd council meeting. The roadway data collection and pavement management plan outlines a methodology used to collect and analyze pavement data, reports existing network pavement conditions, conducts life cycle cost analysis of all pavement assets, and develops capital rehabilitation work plan based on the 2024 pavement condition and the town's selected funding level to undertake the works. As indicated, an assessment of the municipality's sidewalk, curb, and gutters was also undertaken in 2025. The data collection will identify and assist in prioritizing rehabilitation and repairs, as well as annual capital and maintenance costs to effectively maintain the town's roadway infrastructure. Council's strategic priorities are also met with this project with both Goal 2, infrastructure growth and reliability, as well as Goal 4, accountable governance. The initial cost of the roadway portion of the planning exercise was approved in March of 2024 at a fee of $57,950. This portion of the project was completed in November of last year. The former Director of Operation had provided verbal approval for the consultant to undertake the expanded data collection process and assessment for the sidewalk, curb, and gutter infrastructure, as well as a treatment trigger review for the localized settlement areas within the number of roadways, which is a change order tonight. So that work has largely been completed. Upon formal adoption of the roadway data collection and pavement management plan, administration will be able to develop a 5-year paved surface capital plan to undertake the residential industrial road rehabilitation work as recommended. Funding options and strategies will also be provided within this plan for council's consideration. So tonight, administration is requesting that council approve change order number 1 in the amount of $9,900 for the additional scope of work completed as part of the roadway data collection and pavement management plan project. And second, that council direct administration, that's the only resolution that we're seeking tonight. And we're looking for council to adopt the plan when it comes forward at the next council meeting.
Perfect, thank you. I guess my only question is in this additional $9,900, does that include the meeting or the presentation with them, or do we have to pay another $1,300 for a presentation and on the next?
No, that includes the presentation.
Okay, thank you. Council, any questions? No. All right, can I have a motion, please? Councillor Scott? Option number 1, okay. All in favor? Carried. All right, moving on to 10.4. Thank you, Myron.
You're welcome.
Through your worship, I'll turn this over to our Acting Director of Planning and Development.
Hello again, your worship, members of council.
Good evening.
So this is the RFD following the public hearing for the bylaw that we were considering this evening at the public hearing. Council, rather than take you through the background again, because you've recently heard me take you through that at the public hearing, or maybe just review our recommendation. Our recommendation regarding this particular bylaw 1067-26, which was the rezoning Proposed lot 4, block 1, plan 0826934 from the industrial district to the C3 highway commercial district was that council give consideration to second and third readings of that bylaw. Does council have any questions?
Any questions, council? All right, seeing none. I guess we'll move to consideration of second and third hearing. Does anyone want to move for second reading? Deputy Mayor, all in favor? Carried. All right, and then I believe to move for unanimous consent. No, don't need to do that. No, okay. All right. All right, move for. Someone like to make a motion to move third reading, third and final reading. Councillor Forrest, all in favor? Carried. All right, moving on to 10.5.
Through your worship, I'll turn this over to the Acting Director of Planning and Development.
Okay, so council, I guess before we go too far with this particular RFD, in reviewing the agenda package, I noticed that the schedules were not included attached to the RFD. Has council had the opportunity to review those schedules? They included the revised amending motion, which is intended to incorporate the changes that we discussed at the last council meeting to the proposed bylaw, and then a copy of the updated bylaw. I don't want to rush council if you haven't had the opportunity to review those. This is the proposed amendment to your land use bylaw to redistrict the placement of manufactured homes with a date of manufacture older than, I think, where we ended was, let me take you through that. I think it was 20 years. And then to require the deposit of $5,000 prior to the placement of the unit on the lot, and then to require the improvements to the manufactured home to be completed prior to the unit landing on the lot so that it has an effective date of no greater than 20 years.
Sorry, we just received this during the meeting, so we'll just take a second to review it.
Yes, thank you.
Any questions, council? Councillor Langford?
I'll move option 1, which also includes moving second reading.
All right, all in favor? Carried. All right, and for third and final reading? Deputy Mayor, all in favor? Carried.
Thank you, council. I know you did a lot of work reviewing different versions of this. I really appreciate the time and effort that went into that.
Thank you. All right, moving on to 10.6. Reappointment of council members to the IMPC committee.
Through your worship, I will turn this over to the Acting Director of Planning and Development.
Thank you. Okay, so this one, we received a request from Mackenzie County to provide contact information for the members that the town had appointed to the Intermunicipal Planning Commission at your organizational meeting in the fall. And so we had to figure out what had occurred at the organizational meeting in the fall. And when we reviewed the minutes from that meeting, we noticed that there was a conflict between the appointments made for the Intermunicipal Planning Commission. And then because you're revising and updating your intermunicipal development plan with Mackenzie County this year, you also have a special committee that's been appointed, a joint steering committee, to review that IDP. So you don't normally have that particular committee, but you do for this year to complete that project. And there are requirements for that particular committee, that steering committee, that create a conflict with what your normal intermunicipal planning commission appointments can be. So essentially what it comes down to is that you can't have the same counselors appointed to your intermunicipal planning commission that you have appointed to the joint steering committee for the IDP and a review. And it's because if there ends up being a conflict, as you know, or you can't reach a consensus agreement on an item related to the IDP review, then that item is intended to be referred to the Intermunicipal Planning Commission. So it can't be referred to the same people that have the conflict. It has to be different members. So what we're requesting so that we can proceed with organizing an Intermunicipal Planning Commission meeting to review a subdivision application that's been, it's in process in the county within the IDP area, is that council reappoint your members to the Intermunicipal Planning Commission to be members who are not on the joint steering committee for the intermunicipal development plan review. And then just in that background, in the background for that, I provided you with some information specifically from the terms of reference so that you can see sort of what happened and what we need to do in order to resolve this so that we can move forward to organize that meeting. Council, have any questions about that?
Any questions, council? So I believe it is myself and Deputy Mayor that are on the IMPC committee. So are you on the IDP as well? Yeah, okay. So then it has to either be Councillor Mercredi, Councillor Forrest, Councillor Scott, or Councillor Zacco to take, actually two of those people to take those two positions. Would anyone like to? Randomly, very, very random. I sat on it for 4 years and I think we had maybe 5 meetings. Most of them were no longer than 10 minutes. So it's not a huge commitment. If anyone is interested, it is.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, who would like to do it?
I can.
Councillor Scott and Councillor Mercredi. Okay, can I also make a motion to rescind the original motion for myself and the Deputy Mayor? Okay, Councillor Zacco. All in favor? Oh. Yeah. Okay, all in favor? Carried. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Council.
That's all in the same motion, yeah. Oh, sorry, and then it also has in here to recruit a member at large. That's in the same motion as well, so we'll have to put that out to the public. All right, moving on to 14.1, which is call for resolutions for the Alberta Munis conference in March. Does council have any resolutions they'd like to put forward for consideration? This is for September? Yeah. Oh, okay, sorry. Was there a deadline, CAO, for when they have to be submitted? May 30th. Oh, okay, perfect. So we have some time then if we need to. Okay, we'll bring that back to the next, maybe our February, is it what, 23rd meeting? Or 24th, right? No, 23rd, yeah, 23rd meeting. Thinking of next week that we do not have a meeting on Monday, it's the day after. All right. Moving on to 15.1. There was a request for a letter of support by one of our local veterinarians here. I understand that the It was a request to bring to their meeting for February 4th. The time has passed, but I did request the CAO put this under council's correspondence for information. I don't think a motion or any action will be needed there. And then under 15.2, we have an update for the AAIP rural renewal stream.
Through your worship, can we have a motion to receive the correspondence for information?
Yep. Can I have a motion, council? Deputy Mayor, all in favor? Sorry, all in favor? Carried. All right, moving on to 15.2.
Through your worship, I will turn this over to the acting manager of human resources.
Good evening, Barb.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Welcome to February. So have a bit of an update for you on the AAIP program. The information that's presented is post a designated community meeting sponsored by the province. So a number of designated communities had submitted questions with regards to the changes that occurred for January 1st of 2026. And the meeting was convened, and the meeting probably went for 1.5 hours by the time everyone's questions were responded to. I do want to say that I recognize that some of the answers were unsatisfactory, and there's been limited progress to date on this file. I just want to put that out there. What seemed to be a fairly simple program on the face is actually quite complex, and it's confusing, and now overlaid with the restrictions of January 1st, 2026. We're doing our best to try to put together a plan for council, and our hope and our goal is to have all the answers confirmed and a plan put forward for council's consideration at the March 9th meeting. And then I'll be in town on March the 10th to execute on it. So that's really all I have this evening, and I'm happy to respond to any questions that you may have with regards to the briefing note.
Thank you. Council, any questions? Barb, I do have a couple questions. Just doing some research myself and going through the report that you gave us. If someone in the EOI or EOI pool for 2024 and 2025, do they still count toward the 4 allocations for 2026?
That's what the province has indicated, that 4 is 4, and everyone that's in that expression of interest pool will be given consideration under the January 1, 2026 rules.
Okay, so I guess if a candidate is in the EOI, yeah, sorry, my kids have been singing Old MacDonald Had a Farm lately, so I got. So do we need to reissue endorsements annually for anyone that's applied in the past?
Oh, like sorry, you're frozen. Oh.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, yes.
Okay, so just asking if a candidate in the EOI pool is in there for more than a year, do we need to reissue their endorsement letter?
So that's 2 separate things. And that's, I think what's a bit confusing is some of the terminology is used, I think, in 2 different ways. So people in the EOI pool, that placement in that pool is good for a year, and then they have to re-register. So that takes care of it.
But that's starting as of January 1st.
The endorsement letters that are out there, no, that was the program before January 1st of 2026. The EOI pool is simply a holding pool that was developed because of the, I guess, the response to the program. They needed a method to hold people because they knew that they couldn't invite them all into the program because it was just far too many people. So that's kind of the holding pool, and that in that pool, their placement lasts for a year, and then they have to re-register. So that's on the participants to do that. if they're called to or invited to participate in the program and move through the program, they have to have a valid endorsement letter. And so the change in January 1 of 2026 says your endorsement letter is only going to be valid for 1 year. So if it was issued in November 25, it's going to expire in November 2026. The really important piece of this is that we learned from our hour-and-a-half meeting is that at the time that a participant is invited to move through the program, they have to have in their hand a valid endorsement letter. They have, and there's a time period there where the town can reissue an endorsement letter if it happens to have expired in the meantime. But that's kind of what we're looking at as well, is how do we manage these requests for endorsement letters that we're getting now for people who have not been invited to go through the program? So that's part of what we're hoping to recommend to council and how we're going to manage those, and how we're going to manage new requests for people not in the program right now but want to enter into and have endorsement letters issued.
Sorry, I guess I'm a little confused then, because so you're saying that they need to be
Oh, so am
invited.
I.
They need to be invited, but then they need it, in order to be invited, they have to have an endorsement letter.
They have, at the time of their invitation and the time that they put forward all of their documentation at the request of the province, they have to have a valid endorsement letter.
But that's,
And
I
so
guess
the
my question is,
question
how do
then
they get
becomes,
invited?
yeah,
How do they get invited to the
that's
program?
okay, so that's through the province, and that's that allocation of 4. The province is the people that decide who's going to move into the program of that allotment of 4 and be considered.
Councillor Langford?
I know, it seems so simple at the get-go.
Sorry, I thought we had discussed and agreed at the last meeting that the town was not going to be the gatekeeper for this in terms of deciding who was getting an endorsement letter or not. That if an employer was asking for an endorsement letter, one would be provided, and then it's into the provincial stream for whoever they're going to invite.
Correct. But we're talking about issuing endorsement letters to those folks that have already received an endorsement letter and they're simply expired. So we're trying to figure out how to deal with those folks as well, and what our obligation is to make sure that they still qualify for the program.
But that would seem to be fairly straightforward in terms of determining whether they still qualify for the endorsement letter. I'm thinking more in terms of new people that have never got one before, that, again, the employer is going to be the one requesting that. We're not going to say yay or nay. If they qualify, we'll issue one.
We'll certainly put that forward as part of the recommendation, but we were strongly encouraged to manage those new endorsements, recognizing that there's a number of people in the EOI pool that are under consideration in the same vein as any new participants.
Okay. Well,
I'm sorry, I don't have more information for you.
I guess just in regards to the motion that council put forward at our January 12th meeting, have we had any luck with hiring or putting out an advertisement for an EDO?
No, through your worship, I'm currently recruiting for other positions, and then that's something we can have a discussion during budget deliberations.
Okay, well, council had amended the budget in order to hire that position.
So I'm currently in the process of recruiting for other positions, and then I can certainly discuss priorities with council at the next council meeting.
Okay, but in order to continue with this program, we have to have an EDO on staff. That is
Through your worship, we don't. We actually have 4, the limit is 4 endorsements, and we might be able to find efficiencies within the organization to run the program. I'm currently working on this.
Councillor Langford?
It's important, yeah, it's important to note that some of the other municipalities, while there's a connection to economic development, it's not always the ED that's actually looking after the program. A couple of the municipalities that we've reached out to, their FCSS program managers are managing this program.
Okay, but again, my understanding of the program is there has to be an EDO on staff. Whether it's the person who actually administers this or not, I guess is up to the municipality. But we keep confusing the number of position or people that may be approved with the number of endorsement letters that we're gonna issue. And there's no connection between the two, in my mind. If an employer is asking for an endorsement letter, we will issue one. Because we've already heard that over the 126 endorsement letters, there's actually only been 11 people that have been successful. So there's a fairly high attrition rate between the number of endorsement letters and the number of people that are successful. So I think we need to stop looking at the 4. That's what the province is going to approve. We can't pick and choose who's going to get put forward. That's not the town's job.
Through your worship, absolutely it isn't. What we are looking at is that out of the 126 letters that we issued, only 13 applications were submitted to the province for consideration. And out of the 13, 11 were accepted. That's what we're looking at, and then trying to gather more information to bring options to council.
Sorry, but I agree with the mayor. The resolution was to hire this position. The budget was amended, so perhaps an ad could be put out.
So currently, the Director of Planning and Development position is vacant, and I am looking after that department as well as other 4. We have 4 + 1 executive vacancies. So I'm currently in the process of hiring for some of these positions that are crucial to keep moving forward with the business of the municipality. And then as soon as I have the capacity, we'll look into this. But a director needs to be in place before we can move forward with hiring an EDO. And then I would be happy to have that conversation with council because I'm at capacity right now.
All right, can I have someone move for information, please? Councillor Forrest, all in favor? Carried. All right. I don't see a spot on the agenda for administration questions. I guess this is only under correspondence for inquiries, but I did have a couple questions for administration. Just in regards to is there an update on the GIS mapping system?
I will be meeting with through your worship, I will be meeting with the acting director of planning and development this week, and then I'll give you an update at the next council meeting.
Okay, I mean, if we can get an update as soon as possible, that'd be great, because I mean, again, this is a system that many people utilize and need it for.
Yeah, absolutely. As I've mentioned, I have some competing priorities and I'm working through them as fast as I can.
Do we have, I just had some some resident questions in regards to snow removal. I think the town has been doing a fantastic job in doing what we can. I guess it more so lies in which priorities there are within the policy. A lot of the concerns are coming from 100th Avenue being one of the last roads getting done within the community. All the other one, I understand the schools and the hospital area needs to be done first. That's not a problem. But considering 100th Avenue is one of the most used streets in town, I would see that it is definitely a high priority when it comes to also emergency services leaving the town.
Through your worship, can you please refer this resident to us so we can log a complaint and then go over the policy with them? And then if council wishes to amend the policy, we can bring the policy back for consideration.
I guess what I'm saying is that in the policy, it does state that is one of the higher priority roads, as it is an emergency access road. So my question is just, why does that one seem to be one of the least, or one of the last ones that are done when it comes to?
Through your worship, I do need to get a complaint, and then once we receive the complaint, we'll investigate to see if that's the case, and then take appropriate action once the investigation is completed. Right now, I cannot confirm or deny if this road is the last road being done or not. So I would like to have more information and conduct an investigation.
Well, I'm not really sure with the, I guess, lack of time management we have. I don't think an investigation is necessary. I mean, it's very clear for, we're not a large municipality. We can drive on the roads every day that we see which roads are cleared and which ones are not. So it is in the policy that that is an emergency access road, and it should be one of the ones that are done quite soon when the snow does fall. So I don't think an
Through
investigation.
your worship, I am agreeing, but I would like to determine if this is happening or not. So, and that's where speaking with the concerned resident will help us gather information, and then so I can go to staff and then have a conversation. Without that, it's just, hearsay. So it's nice for us to have these logged complaints, and we do log them. We do follow up, and so that's the channels that we have been using, and then it has been working well for us.
All right, I'm not going to dwell on it much longer, but again, if this is, like I said, in the policy, it's something that needs to be looked at. I mean, it's a main road. It really shouldn't. If it was a residential street for one person, I would understand. If this was a small area of town, 100%. But the fact that this is a main road that every single person drives on, I guess maybe not yourself, but that is something that should be looked at when we are doing snow removal.
Oh, absolutely, and I'm not disagreeing with you. I just would like to have the complaint come to us, and then we'll investigate and ensure that that is happening and council policy is being followed.
All right. Does council have any questions? Councilor Langford?
Perhaps the acting director of operations can enlighten council on what the priorities are for snow removal.
Through your worship, I'll turn it over to the acting director of operations.
Thank you, council. Good evening, council and your worship. On this one, I would say that we were trying to clean up the last of the first pass, or third time going through the town completely. So they were finishing up. We also had our lead hand was out of town last week, so we just fell a little bit behind, but we were going to be on that again because it is a priority route, and we'll be getting it signed and cleaned up right away. So they had signed on the weekend to do 106th Street, and so that's where their focus was today. But we'll clean up after the weekend on this.
Thank you. All right, moving on. Do we have any questions from the public? Sorry, I'll just get you to come to the front and present your name again. Yeah.
So, Perry Felsinger, representing the hotels in High Level. I could not believe the answers that I got from that 100th Street. I just want to mention. It is so disgusting to hear that answers, and I don't know when you had happened to walk that area and see that road. And that area is with the trucks and all those stuff, and you can't even drive that. And you don't need a complaint when you drive that, you can see that to get it clean. And I truly commend your answer because I believe those are action-oriented answers, which I want to commend you, as compared to the latter or the first answer that I heard. It's mind-boggling. I just want to share that with me.
Thank you. Any other questions from the public? No? All right. That'll commence our meeting. Was there any in-camera session that we needed to adjourn to? No, we're all good. All right. Can I have someone move for adjournment? Councillor Scott, all in favor? Carried. Thank you.